everyone and welcome. My name is Penny and this is Penny's Small Spaces. So things are actually moving quite quickly with the Hart House, a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be honest. Usually when things are going really smoothly, that's when I reach a point where I realize I've really messed something up royally and have to kind of start from scratch, but luckily that has not happened for this build. So if things continue on the way they are, I suspect I may actually be finished the house, or at least the structure of the house, maybe even by January. So that'll leave me time then to do the exterior of the house and all the brickwork. And so that's more of the fun stuff for this build. So I've been trying to decide really how much to show of this particular build. A lot of the things that I'm doing are things that I've already done on the channel. And I don't want to get too repetitious with kind of doing the same things over and over again. And with this house, I mean, there's 4 floors and it's going to be separated into 2 halves, which I think I've mentioned already. But I mean, each of the floors has a slightly different layout as far as what the rooms look like, but the process is exactly the same for creating those inside walls and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I don't want to get too carried away by showing you every single wall because, I mean, I think sometimes if you've seen it once, then it's kind of all you need to see, right? So what I've decided to do is just kind of show you those one-off things or things that are a little bit different. So in this video, I'm going to make one functioning door that opens. Obviously, there's lots of doors inside of this house. Like each bedroom, of course, has a bedroom door. I don't want to show you every single door, right? So I'm going to make one door. This particular door has a window in it. Of course, not all of the doors in the house have that window, but because that one is a little bit different, it seemed like a good one to show. And the other thing that I want to make today is a functioning overhead garage door. So let's get started. So starting with the door, so I went in and I measured out the area that I had cut out for the door. And I'm going to create a frame that will go just inside of that cutout. So I'm going to start by gluing those pieces together into a rectangular shape. It's important to keep this piece nice and square so that your door doesn't go in crooked. I cut out 2 rectangles for the doors, and it's about 2 millimeters smaller on each side all the way around than the frame is. This particular door had a window, so I also cut out a square where the window would have been and added a layer of plastic packaging in between those 2 pieces of wood. Next, I wanted to add a small strip of wood around in the back half of the frame. I don't want this door to swing both directions. I want it to only swing towards the inside of the house. So I have to put something on the back side to stop it from going both directions. I found some very thin coffee stir sticks, and I'm just measuring out to see how long I need to make those pieces, and then I'll go ahead and glue them to the inside of the frame. After I had glued that in place, I went ahead and put some clamps on it until it had a chance to dry. Now I'm going to be using pin hinges in order to get the door to swing open and closed. And in order to do that, I need to drill some very small holes through the frame and into the top and bottom of the door itself. I used my little hand drill to drill those holes, and the bit on that hand drill is almost exactly the same size as an ordinary dressmaker pin or stick pin. You then can cut off the bottom of that straight pin and push it through the frame and into the door itself. So here at the bottom of the doorway, you can see where I've cut away one layer of the cardboard. That's going to allow me to push the bottom part of that frame so that it's actually flush with the floor. I'm also going to add some trim around the door so that you can't see the gap in between the cardboard and the frame of the door. So let's move on to the overhead doors for the garage. The door itself was relatively simple. I just cut a piece of wood a little bit bigger than the opening itself. And then I cut that piece of wood into 4 sections so that they would have the flexibility to roll up onto a track. Rather than try and hinge these pieces together, I'm just going to cover the back with more of the Tyvek. I don't want to use glue in case the glue seeps down in between the sections, so instead I'm just going to use some 2-sided tape to attach this Tyvek to the pieces of wood. The Tyvek worked great for giving me the flexibility that I needed in order to move those 4 sections independently, but also gave me the strength that I needed to keep the whole door intact. Making the track for the door proved to be a bit of a hit and miss. I tried a couple of different things, but nothing really worked. And then I remembered that the dresser in my bedroom has a section that has a little roll top. So I went in and had a really good look at how that track worked and then tried to replicate it. I started by cutting out the shape of the track from some chipboard. And then I used some armature wire on each side, leaving a track in the center. Now, armature wire is typically used to make models out of clay, so it's very soft and very pliable. The trick, though, was to get it straight first before I tried to attach it to this piece of chipboard. I did eventually get it reasonably straight, so then it was just a matter of attaching one piece on the bottom and one piece across the top of the shape that I had cut out. I made 2 tracks, both the same size, and I attached them to the walls on either side of the doorway. Then to attach the door to the track, I put small round dowels at the top of each of those 4 door sections. And you can see that I put more Tyvek over top of even that, and that's just to add some security to make sure that those little round dowels aren't going to come loose. I tested the door by feeding the dowels into the track, starting with the bottom part of the door. Once I was satisfied that it was going to work, I thought I'd better paint the door and add the handle before I permanently installed it. I put a little stopper at the back of the track so that the door could only go back so far. Well, that's it, and that's all for this video. Next time, I'm going to tackle the stairs that went down into the basement, and I'll also do some work up on the main level. I hope you join me, and until then, bye for now.